Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a story that's as heartbreaking as it is eye-opening. It's about a man named Mark who thought he had the perfect life with his wife, Sarah. They'd been together for 10 years, married for 7, and had 2 beautiful kids. From the outside, they were the picture of happiness. But as we all know, sometimes the prettiest pictures hide the deepest cracks. Mark's story begins on what felt like a normal Tuesday. He came home from work tired but looking forward to dinner with his family. But when he walked in, the house was unusually quiet. Sarah was sitting at the kitchen table, her face pale, her hands clasped so tightly her knuckles were white. She looked up at him, and her eyes were filled with a distance he'd never seen before. "Mark," she said, her voice barely a whisper, "we need to talk. Those 4 words can make your heart drop to your stomach, can't they?" He sat down, his mind racing. Was it about money? Was someone sick? He never, not in a million years, expected what came next. "I need some space," she said. Just space to figure things out. To find myself again. Mark was floored. Find herself. What did that even mean? They were a team, a family. What was there to find that wasn't right here in this home they had built together? He tried to be understanding. Maybe she was stressed from juggling the kids and her part-time job. He suggested a vacation, just the 2 of them. He offered to take on more of the chores to give her more free time. She shook her head at every suggestion. "It's not that, Mark. It's something I need to do on my own." The conversation ended with a cold, hollow feeling hanging in the air. Sarah moved into the guest room that night, and the space she wanted suddenly felt like a vast, empty canyon between them. For the next few weeks, life became a strange and painful routine. They were like polite strangers living in the same house. They coordinated schedules for the kids, made small talk about bills, but the warmth was gone. Mark felt like he was walking on eggshells, terrified of saying or doing the wrong thing that might push her further away. He kept telling himself to be patient, to give her the space she asked for. He loved her, and he was willing to wait. But then, little things started to seem off. Sarah started working late more often. When he asked about her day, her answers were vague. "Just busy," she'd say, quickly changing the subject. She became fiercely protective of her phone, which was always either in her hand or face down on a table. One night he walked into the living room and she quickly swiped her screen away, a flicker of panic in her eyes. He asked who she was texting and she snapped, "Just a friend. Can't I have any privacy?" The word privacy stung. They'd always been open with each other. This new secrecy was a wall he couldn't seem to break through. Mark started to feel a knot of suspicion tightening in his gut. He hated the feeling, hated the person it was turning him into. He'd never been the jealous type, but her behavior was making it impossible not to wonder. Was there someone else? He pushed the thought away. No, not Sarah. She wouldn't do that to him, to their family. The breaking point came one Friday night. Sarah told him she was going out with her girlfriends for a much-needed girls' night. Mark wished her a good time, trying to sound supportive, even though his heart was heavy. He put the kids to bed and tried to distract himself with a movie, but he couldn't focus. Around 11 p.m., his phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. "You should probably know where your wife really is," it said, followed by an address. A bar downtown. Mark's blood ran cold. This had to be a cruel joke. A mistake. But the seed of doubt had been planted, and now it was growing into a monstrous tree. He called Sarah's best friend, the one she was supposedly with. Her friend sounded confused. "No, we don't have plans tonight," she said. "I'm at home with my husband. Is everything okay?" The lie hit Mark like a physical blow. She had lied to him, boldly and without hesitation. Driven by a mix of anger, hurt, and a desperate need for the truth, Mark got in his car. He drove to the address from the text. As he pulled up, he saw her car parked across the street. His heart was pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears. He walked to the window of the dimly lit bar and peered inside. There she was. Sarah. She was laughing, her head tilted back, a vibrant, happy look on her face he hadn't seen in months, and she wasn't with her girlfriends. She was sitting close to a man, their knees almost touching. He was leaning in, whispering something in her ear, and she giggled, placing her hand on his arm. It was intimate. It was familiar. It was everything Mark and Sarah hadn't been for a long, long time. And then he watched as the man leaned in and kissed her. It wasn't a quick peck. It was a long, passionate kiss that made Mark feel like he couldn't breathe. The woman who wanted space from him was finding it in another man's arms. Mark didn't storm in. He didn't cause a scene. He just turned around, walked back to his car, and felt his entire world crumble. The drive home was a blur of tears and a pain so profound it felt like a part of him had died. Every memory, every I love you, every shared dream was now tainted. The space she needed wasn't for self-discovery. It was for a secret life he was never meant to see. When Sarah got home after 1 a.m., she tried to tiptoe past the living room, but Mark was sitting there in the dark, waiting. The look on his face told her everything. She didn't have to ask. "You know," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I know," he replied, his own voice raw with emotion. The confession tumbled out of her then. The man was a coworker named David. It had started as a friendship, an emotional connection, she said. He understood her in a way she felt Mark no longer did. She tried to justify it, saying their marriage had been stale, that she felt more like a mom and a wife than a woman.
Oh.
She said she was confused and hadn't meant for it to go this far. But her words were just noise to Mark. All he could see was the image of her kissing another man. All he could feel was the sting of her lies. She hadn't just cheated. She had systematically dismantled their life together, piece by piece, right under his nose, all while pretending she needed space to fix herself. The weeks that followed were a painful process of separation. Mark realized that the woman he married was gone, replaced by a stranger whose secrets were far too close for comfort. He learned a hard lesson. Sometimes when someone asks for space, they're not looking for a way back to you. They're just clearing a path for someone else. Mark is now focusing on his kids, trying to build a new life from the wreckage. His story is a powerful reminder that trust, once broken, is one of the hardest things to rebuild. It also shows us that no matter how dark things get, you have the strength to walk away from a situation that is destroying you and start again. Thank you for listening to Mark's story today. If you've been through something similar, know that you are not alone, and healing is possible. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more stories. We'll see you in the next video.